I'm here today to show off a programmable safe that I built. So in terms of how this thing works, it's pretty much the same as the little safes that you sometimes find in hotel rooms where you enter a combination, it remembers it, you enter it again to unlock it, and then you can reprogram it with a new combination. So the first thing we have to do is give it a combination. So we got this new combo button here. And so now the next three numbers I enter, let's do 1, 2, 3, is now saved as the new combination. Using a little item frame here, A, because it's smaller than a big button panel, and also because sometimes with safes you have a little twisty knob to enter a combination, so I thought that was cool. Alright, so now it's locked. You notice if I hit the open close button, nothing's going to happen. So now I actually have to enter the combination. So 1, 2, 3. And now if I hit the open close button, it should work. And of course, every safe needs a cool door. And then, of course, I can close it again, which I probably should do before reprogramming it. And of course, as expected, once I have the correct combination entered, I can hit this new combo button again to give it a new combo. So now we can do like 7, 1, what's that? It's like 6 o'clock. Wait, I don't know. So we make that little like Y pattern there. And now we have to enter that again. So that's 8. This one is 2. And 2, 3, 4, 5. So now we enter that new combo, and we can open it again. Now, for the rest of the video, I'm going to be explaining how this whole thing works. To start, it's actually surprisingly small. So if you see my last video with the programmable piston door, we stored values in a much more, I guess, unpacked state. So we did something like this setup over here, where we had a button panel, and each button was hooked up to one of these rows of pistons. And so each of those pistons would store, I guess, binary value, either 0 or 1. This up here is much more compact because since we're reading a signal out of an item frame, which is changes depending on how much the item is twisted, that changes the signal strength. So right now the last value it entered was 5. So there's 5 lamps on. As you can see by this little redstone line, that eventually runs out of power because it only has a signal strength of 5. And so we can actually store that value. So instead of each D flip-flop having only 2 possible values, 1 and 0, we now have a total of, in theory, 16, but with what we're working with, we only have 9 possible values, 0 through 8. And so I think it's much easier to explain how one of these deep flip-flops work without all the other wires in the way, so we'll do that now. To explain how these D flip-flops work, I have a single cell here in front of me. So first thing we need to do, well, right now it's already empty. As you can see, none of these redstone lamps are on. So first thing we need to do is give it a value. If I turn on, say, this lever, once it propagates through, all the lamps should be on except the last 2. Right now, though, until I enter that value, until I clock it with this orange line, that value is not going to propagate through. So now I clock it, and as you can see, the lamps light up, everything except the last 2, and I can store a different value. So let's only light up 1 lamp all the way back here. So now it's being fed only a signal strength of 1. And so when I clock it, only the last lamp is on. And then lastly, there's this blue line, which is the reset. So regardless of what value is stored in here, if I press it, it clears it to 0. E flip-flops are great and all, but it's also important to understand how they connect together. So we have 2 rows, I guess, of D flip-flops. We have this top row up here, which you can see by the yellow, the green, and the pink. And then we have a row down here, which again is yellow, green, pink. So the top row of D flip-flops is what you'd call, I guess I can call them registers too, is a shift register. So what happens is every time we clock this whole row of registers, the value stored in yellow propagates to green, and the value stored in green propagates to pink, all at the same time. So basically every value moves down 1 register. And so this is how we save the last 3 inputs that were entered in the combination. The lower row of registers is actually to store the combination. So whenever we reprogram it, we enter 3 values, and then the value in each of these, the top row registers, gets copied to its corresponding lower register. So this one up here will get copied down to this register down here. the green register here will get copied down to the green register here, and the pink register here gets copied down to the pink register here. The way we do that is we have just a little AND gate here connected up with the unlock signal, which is this blue line. So when the unlock signal is active, you pressing the black button sort of primes this observer, pushes it over here, and then whenever the third value gets entered, this line gets activated, and this piston will push it back, and it'll clock this lower row of, it'll assert this little orange line, which clocks the lower row of registers. Now that it hopefully makes sense how the values are stored in the upper and lower registers, we have to compare them. Because how else are you going to know when the right combination is entered? You got to compare the lower row that stores the unlock combination with the upper row, which is the entered combination. So the way we do this is we read out the signal strength here. So the last combination we entered was 8. Yeah, it was 8, 2, and then 5. So if you notice down here, 5 is the last value entered. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That redstone, similar to how it was set up right here. And the most recent button I entered, well, I guess I'll just demonstrate. Here, I'll do a 1. So the most recent button entered is only a 1. So it's kind of hard to see here, but if you look in, this one is powered, this one is not. And then we compare them with a bunch of XNOR gates. Now, if you're just making this with like redstone torches, that's a little bit complicated, but fortunately, with observer logic, XOR and XNOR gates are trivial. So basically, this lower line of redstone powers these note blocks, which will update this line of observers. And this upper line of redstone powers these note blocks, which update this line of observers right here. And so if they both, if both the redstone dust on the bottom and the top is the same for one row, then this block here will get retracted. If it's not, then it stays up here, as shown here. So we enter the signal of 1. That means this 1 is on, this bottom row is on, because this down here is 5, right? So for the first one, they're going to correspond. The next 4, the top row is off, but the bottom row is on, so that's why these blocks are pushed up. And then for the last 3, they're off in both cases. That's why all of these are pulled down. In order for the door to unlock, all of these blocks have to be pulled down. And then these signals all turn off, and we just have a big AND gate here that unlocks the green button for opening the door and the black button for reprogramming. The last piece of the circuit is the door. It's nothing too fancy, just a 5x5 piston door using slime and honey block flying machines. I guess this one I stole from Mumbo Jumbo video, which is like, I'll link it down in the description for sure. And so, just to appreciate it one more time, I'll enter the combination again. So we have 8, 2, and then 5. And you'll notice all of those blocks now are pulled down because we entered the right combination. And then we close it all back up. And so world download for this will be in the description, as well as the other links for circuits that I stole, namely the door, and also should mention the deep flip-flop I stole from a Q Hamster video quite a while ago. That's pretty much everything. Thank you for watching.